Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. My deepest apologies, everyone. I was not intending to be late, so I'm completely blaming my husband, because if he tell me, come on, I'm coming. Sorry about that. My apologies, because we like an hour behind. So since we are an hour behind, I'm not going to waste your time. Okay. But before we do that, rest in peace, both James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly from Maze. Come on. Two icons in the entertainment field. Frankie Beverly, come on. It's too much to say. It's too much to say about James Earl Jones. Our Mufasa, okay? Darth Vader, okay? Come on. Like, they legendary. Yeah, Frankie Beverly, they announced his passing this morning. Well, at least that's when I saw it. Come on, man. Cookouts, man. You know, black folks we wore out before I let go. You know, we wore that out. So those two legends, rest in peace to them, and condolences to their families. So King Joffrey Joe Fur, okay? You hear what I'm saying? All right. So in any case, we're going to talk about this Kamala Trump debate. Put a 1 in the chat if you watched the debate last night. If you did not watch the debate last night, I would urge you to watch the entire debate. It is not like other presidential debates, which is really, really, really boring. You actually need to look at it. Not only was it entertaining, the entertainment value was astronomical. It was comedy gold. I knew it was going to be funny. I knew it was going to be hilarious. First of all, because Trump is a fool. Okay, he a fool. Now, aside from that whole point, I thought both of them was nutty as fruitcakes. Okay, both of them is nuts. Let's just start there. Kamala tried to sound sane, but she a nut. She a nut. Okay, she's a nut. And they spend so much time trying to make y'all believe Donald Trump is a nut, but she a nut. Okay. They spend a lot of time trying to. I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead of myself, because the first thing I noticed was the bias of the moderators, and this is why Trump be talking about that. When he always be talking about this fake news, I don't like these news outlets, because the bias is so strong and so obviously geared towards the Democrats as a whole and Kamala Harris in particular. And I picked up on the bias of the moderators, because in my understanding, the moderators in a debate are supposed to ask questions, They are also supposed to ask follow-up questions, and they are there to maintain the structure of the debate. But what they are not there to do is interject their opinions on the answers that the candidates give. How they feel about what Trump says is irrelevant. Why do we need to know about the disdain that the moderators have towards him? That doesn't, we don't care about that. So they constantly, especially the woman, she constantly had little flippant remarks about what he said. We don't need your opinion on what he said. Your job as the moderator is not to give us your opinion about that, especially during the debate. It's not. You just maintain the structure of the debate. You make sure that the candidates are keeping time. Okay? And you make sure that you're asking the questions in order and you're moving the conversation along, not getting stuck in one particular thing. You know what I'm saying? That you keep the flow of the debate. The other thing that the moderators were doing that I thought was unfair was the fact checking of Trump without the fact checking of Kamala. If you're going to do real-time fact checking, do that. I don't mind real-time fact checking, right? If we can get the real information real time, that's wonderful. It's just that you need to do it for both candidates. Don't be letting Kamala get away with constantly trying to saddle Trump with Project 2025 and trying to make it seem like he was crazy when he was talking about the baby deletion issue and how Democrats in different states were test running the concept of late term baby deletions, like in the second and third trimesters, not necessarily only for medical emergencies either, but introducing it as a viable option all throughout a woman's pregnancy. She can determine whether or not she wants to delete that baby. I specifically remember articles about that. He was not making that up. I specifically remember it. And people had such a adverse reaction to that, so they couldn't move it forward. That's what they were trying to do, Miss Sierra. Well, it's not law, but you was trying to test it out. You was trying to see, they was trying to temperature check everybody to see how far could they go with that concept. Are people really gonna are women going to do that? My overall takeaway was that I thought that Trump could have done better. He missed a golden opportunity. He missed a golden opportunity to nail her within the first few minutes of the debate. The first few minutes of debate, the first question they asked Kamala was about the state of the economy, and I want y'all to hear her answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this part of it, just this part. You know, we got to put up, all kinds of other mess to try to keep the, copyright monsters away. This is the same screenshot. It don't matter about the screenshot, but I just want you to hear her answer.
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went
different countries
of Putin,
Arabs
and immediately
Come
to
on,
democracy.
right here. I hate it when it's not where I wanted it to be. My apologies. Hold on.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and anything related to
Okay, now we're at the point where it begins. Here we go.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
That is not what was asked, ma'am. 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 That was not the question. Question was, in terms of the economy, are Americans better off now, today in 2024, than they were 4 years ago? She couldn't say absolutely. She couldn't say that. And she didn't say it. Trump missed a golden opportunity to nail her. I would have drilled her with that all night. All night. All night. No diddy. I'd have skewered her with that. They couldn't even say they were better off under their administration than under mine. My administration was better. She could not even fix her mouth to tell that kind of lie. Because everybody know we not. Everybody knows that we not. That right there set the tone for me for the entire debate. The fact that she immediately started tap dancing on that question. That was a yes or no. That was a yes or no. And she was supposed to fix her mouth and lie if she had to. And she couldn't even bring herself to do it. She was supposed to say, absolutely, the Biden-Harris administration has definitely allowed the average American citizen to live better economically than we did 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we had the pandemic. She was supposed to fix her mouth, tell that lie. She couldn't even do it. And Trump didn't think fast enough on his feet either to immediately jump on her. See, she said it. She said their administration wasn't better economically for the average American than my administration. So you gonna vote for her or you gonna vote for me? Because I actually had a plan for the economy. They tried to put the pandemic on him as if he started the pandemic. And he made a good point in the debate. He was like, we had not had a pandemic like that for over 100 years. How was I supposed to know that that would be something that I would have to contend with in my presidency? And I don't know that any other president could have done any better with that. I want people to think back because it's very good. It's very interesting how we allow media to shape our memories of the past, of the recent past. And you know what I'm saying? They do a whole Mandela effect and a whole matrix thing with the past, a past that we lived through. Okay, none of us are 4 years old. We were adults in 2020. Did we or did we not experience a complete shutdown of the society. Whether you thought C-19 was a hoax, whether you thought it was real, whether you thought the severity with which it was reported was real, or whether you thought it was a ploy to get the vaccine, I don't care what you thought about C-19. We lived through the shutdown of 2020. We lived through that. Did we forget the breakdown of the supply chain? Did we forget that people was almost looting in these stores? Did we forget that? See, it's easy to try to do revisionist history now, but we lived through that. I didn't forget 20 years, just 4 years ago. What did people think he was supposed to do? Oh, he shut everything down. But didn't they say it was so contagious that we couldn't be around each other? So then it was like, shut everything down. And then it was like, okay, only the essential workers should be working. Obviously, the people in the medical field, obviously people in other essential lines of work that keep the society at least somewhat running properly. And it was still breaking down. We don't remember seeing footage of the cargo ships that was stuck at the harbors on the east and the west coast. We don't remember that. We don't remember seeing that. We don't remember them not being able to offload them ships for months. Huh? Because there was nobody working at the docks. Because we was on shutdown. We don't remember that. Because I remember that footage very well. It took a long time to get the supply chain back. And then they got mad at Trump because he opened things back up. He could not leave it like that. Because had he let the shutdown continue past the point that it did, the society would have broken down from its infrastructure. And we would not have recovered it. We wouldn't have recovered it. I don't know what people wanted to do. So many people got furloughed off their job. So many people, children couldn't go to school. Parents was getting fed up. They were starting to like abuse their kids because they had to be with them. Y'all don't remember them news articles? I remember watching videos and reading news articles about that. Frustrated mothers that wasn't accustomed to their kids being home all day, every day. And they were starting to abuse them. I remember that. I don't know if anybody else remember that. I remember that vividly. I remember them basically telling us we was living in a zombie apocalypse. That the morgue was full and the hospitals was full and all this other kind of stuff. Now I had my concept about it, but we're not going to talk about that. Because I didn't believe the numbers, but whatever. Okay. So he had to open up the society again. And they were mad with him about that. How could he open up? Don't he see? Do you want the society or not? They laughed when he said, we'll get herd immunity from that. It's a flu. Yeah, it may be a devastating flu, but they had it where like the loss of life was going to be so catastrophic that we was like on the verge of extinction or something. And he was like, we're not though. Like people will be sick and people will pass away. But eventually we're going to have to become immune at some level to it. And maybe he wasn't able to articulate that properly because he's not a medical doctor. He's not a scientist. He's not a biologist. He's not any of that. And neither are we. But at the same time, did we or did we not get the immunity? Because that was in 2020. They had us in a whole zombie apocalypse. What happened to it? Because this past flu season and all the flu seasons after that, we wasn't really worried about it. Did anybody else worry about it? I wasn't worried about it. Now we want to sit around and laugh about the ridiculousness of it, but once you get past all the memes and things of that nature, we still have a society, whether it suck or not. Life as we know it in America was able to limp ahead. So then they wanted to blame him for the economy. Here's the thing. When we talk about the economy, people who are on the side of the Democrats are saying, well, Trump's economy was really riding off the coattails of the Obama administration. If that is so, why come the Biden administration didn't keep it up? Why they didn't just ride that wave? If in fact it was Obama's economic plans that had us in a good space economically, and then Trump was smart enough to ride that wave, why wasn't Biden Harris smart enough to ride the wave? I mean, I'm just speaking as a layman. Because whatever policies you don't agree with Trump, because he did his fair share of dancing around questions as well. Okay? When they started asking him about that January 6th stuff, he danced around that. And he went back to the immigration thing and things of that nature. Okay? So it was a lot of dancing that they were doing. Both of them should have just been named Gregory Hines 1 and 2, because the level of tap dancing that was being done on that stage is astronomical. Okay. They never did want to really talk about that immigration issue, which is why he kept hammering it. Now, in my opinion, he did the wrong thing by harping on the be that as it may. You can click off. I'm not in the mood today. Because if you're looking for a political pundit, go find one. But I have a right as a human being and to live in this country to express my opinion about the presidential debate that we all saw. Now, if you don't like my opinion, you don't have to. She kept bringing up the court cases and all of the different cases, which would have been valid. It would have been silly for her and her team not to bring that up, right? But here's what I felt like from her side. She spent too much time trying to make Trump look stupid rather than telling us any new information that we didn't already know about her. I learned nothing new from her about her plans or about what she intends to do once she is in office as the president of the United States. She spent way too much time trying to make Trump look stupid. And I didn't think it was necessary. She would have won undecided votes had she simply said, I have a plan, and then laid out what her actual policies were. Let me talk about policies a little bit. Let me talk about plans and policies and agendas. Kamala Harris does not have any agenda, plan, or policy. Do you understand me? She does not have any. And it's for two reasons that she doesn't have any. And when we come back from the commercial break, I'm going to express those two reasons. But after these messages, we'll be right back. I need everybody to hit the link at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. If you are looking to keep your skin looking and feeling its absolute best, then you definitely need to go to ashkicking.com. Pick you up some wonderful body butter. If this is going to be your first purchase, then please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson. Using the promo code Crimson. Once again, the link is at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. I don't know how many likes I need, but I owe you guys a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button, bam, bam. You got to, Go ahead, hit the like button. Let me get to the super chats. Thank you, Miss Almond. I say, hey, y'all, can't wait to see what y'all think about this. Thank you, Terry. And Anton pointed out the female mob is an AKA, which proves her. I believe that. Thank you, Stefan. Said we're never going to get to see an EWF versus Maze versus battle. Right. Thank you, Too Tall. Said right on. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Bernard. As an ER nurse, it is illegal under any law to deny any woman in labor emergency care, the EMTALA law. For Kamala to say otherwise was egregious, and for the moderators to not fact check her on medical malpractice was stunning. I agree, because she kept trying to pin him with his baby deletion ban. He didn't have a ban. We're going to get into that. But thank you. Thank you, Kisei. Said the moderators won that debate. It was a 3-on-1. And I'm sure he probably knew that. And he ended up getting very frustrated about that. And I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. Thank you, Mia, for your super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Celine. Said Kamala said, let's be clear about while being opaque. Exactly. Thank you, DDEC. Said, get well, sis. Blessings. It's amazing how we have been dragged into deliberate cognitive dissonance and doubling down on her constant lies and foolishness. Blows me away. Exactly. Let me first talk about, I'm gonna get to her not having a plan. But the thing I want to talk about is they keep trying to pin him with that Project 2025. Let me let y'all understand, at my people, don't let them scare you with no paperwork that the majority of the citizens have never read. They just heard about it. I read Project 2025, y'all. They can't do that. It would be a complete overhaul. Let me let y'all be very clear. In order to implement the level and types of changes that are put forth in Project 2025, it would call for nearly pretty much the effective eradication of all three branches of government. Even if you keep them in name only, they won't function the way that the American government has been structured to function as long as we've been alive. Okay, it would effectively gut the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branches of the United States, because it would basically mean, Assalamu alaikum, I love you too. It would basically mean an authoritative, like a dictatorship or an authoritarian government type. It's a different government type. The only way you pull that off is a coup, a military one. Like bullets would have to fly and blood would have to be shed. That would not be done under an election. Okay? Because in order for some change like that to happen without any bloodshed or any bullets flying, nobody fighting, that means that everybody in the House, everybody in the Senate, okay, everybody in the House and the Senate would have had to agree to that, to allow it to come forth. It's too radical. That's nothing more than a white supremacist dream. Right? Kick person, woman out of my chat. Person, woman, whoever that individual, whoever that nut job is, kick them out of my chat. Matter of fact, make my chat subscriber only. You don't get to come in. You don't get the privilege to come in my chat and you not even subscribe to me and talk. Subscriber only, please. And thank you. Exactly. So the reason that I'm saying that is because I don't want our people, Black people, to think that any president can come and actually pull off a dictatorship, or we not going to be able to vote him out. Why not? Why not? Because in order to not vote him out, somehow the Constitution would have to be destroyed. That says that presidents have a limited term of service. Because if he gets voted in, this would be the last time, if I'm not mistaken, he would not be able to do another term, if I'm not mistaken. You only get 2. And I don't know that they have to run consecutively. Okay. So, you know, Project 2025, ooh. Because they're trying to tell us that democracy would be destroyed. But I want people to realize something. Democracy is already, in this election, democracy was already overlooked. Because Kamala was just put into place as the Democratic nominee after Biden stepped down. She did not have to go through primaries, and there were no other options presented to us to vote for. So it wasn't even like, they didn't even put her through a rushed primary. Like, okay, no, we had 2 other Democratic people that we had in mind that you have to run against. Like, you got to beat them so that we can nominate the person who wins on the Democratic side. Like, that was just bypassed. We realize that while everybody is championing this, it was bypassed. And she's just up here now. She tried running for president on her own before. She's too far left. She is a Marxist. Why am I saying that? Where does feminism come from? Because she's definitely a feminist. even if you don't want to put another label on her. Radical feminism is a derivative of Marxism. Okay? And we know that. We know that. That's historical fact. That's not an opinion. We know that radical feminism is a derivative of those collections of ideologies, and that they are harmful ideologies. They are not good ideologies. They are very destructive. Okay? So you might say that Trump is being hyperbolic when he says that, but all in all, it's more or less true, whether you want to use that word for her or not. And she's rather extreme, because I don't know that she's going to put any stipulation on baby deletions. The way she was saying it is like a free-for-all. Let's straighten out something else. Exactly, babe. Let's straighten out something else as well. Trump did not repeal Roe v. Wade as in it was no longer legal. What he actually did, whether you agree with it or not, you don't have to agree with it. But what he actually did was take it away from it being a federal issue, and he allowed the states themselves to vote on that particular issue, how any state was going to deal with it, how liberal, how conservative, whatever, however they was going to deal with it. Now, you may not have agreed with how your state dealt with it, and that's your right not to agree, but that is what he did. There was no blanket ban on it where you just couldn't happen nowhere. He just said, let the states figure it out. Instead of it being a federal issue, just let the state figure it out. And each state would have their own set of policies concerning it. Now, you may have ended up in a state that didn't agree really and was really strict about it. So you might not have been too happy about that if you were a woman who maybe a baby deletion is something that you think you might do at some point. Okay. I don't like it that they term that as healthcare, and I've said this for years. Baby deletions is not healthcare. He stated very clearly that he's down with the exceptions, you know what I'm saying, grapes and things of that nature. Like, of course, there should be exceptions, and there should be. Medical emergencies, life of the mother, I'm in total agreement with exceptions to that rule. Right? But the rule should be no deletions. And then there are exceptions to the rule where it may actually become a viable option. Right now, you got too many chicks using it as birth control, which means it's way too accessible. Planned Parenthood's on every corner like a liquor store. You could just waltz in and get it. And I don't, how is that healthcare? So in my opinion, baby deletions is not health care. That's not health care. That's elective. That's more like That's like saying BBLs is health care. That's an elective thing. Because when you have a spontaneous one, those are called miscarriages. And your body gonna get rid of it. And typically speaking, miscarriages only happen in the first trimester. On the very rare occasion, your baby can pass away in your womb, and they gotta get it out. They're gonna give you a C-section, and they're gonna take the baby out because they have to. That's a medical emergency. Right? So there's a such thing as a stillbirth. There's a such thing as a miscarriage. It just happens to your body. It just happens. You can't help that. Women who have miscarriages, that is not a decision that they consciously make. That's a decision that they womb make for them. Now, on to why Kamala Harris does not have a plan and how I know she don't got one. The first thing that I understand about Kamala Harris is that she doesn't have plans, period. Okay. She has not been good in any position that she's been in. She has a horrible track record as a DA in California. She doesn't have an outstandingly good track record as a senator either. And she doesn't have an outstanding track record, not in a good way anyways, as the vice president of the United States for this last term. That's number one. She's just not very bright. Number two, Kamala is a woman. What do women not do well? What's not the strong suit? What's not in our nature that's in male nature to do? What do women simply really not do? We don't lead. And we don't create systems, orders, and structures. We don't do that. Women do not do that. We do not create systems, orders, and structures. That's not what we do. That's why females in certain positions of power and leadership, that's why it don't be working. And people want to claim how misogynistic it is and sexist it is not. This is just the difference between the genders. Okay? So since women do not create system, order, and structures, she's not going to create one. She's going to follow the SOS of the men before her, which is Biden. So in essence, for the last 3 to 4 years, we have already lived under a Harris administration, and not just because she's the VP, but because she's not going to change anything. because she doesn't have the wherewithal to create her own system, to look at a previously existing system that another man created and say, this part of the system is good, that part's trash, I'm going to change that, I'm going to keep that, I'm going to scrap the whole thing, I'm going to put a new thing together. When they ask her, what are you going to do differently than Biden? She can't answer because she doesn't know. She's going to do what the men around her and the men before her have done. She's simply going to follow the layout that's already there. And whether you like Trump or not, or would agree with anything that he would create, he has at least the mind to create a system and then structure it. Because for as much as they want to fearmonger you with a Trump administration, remember, we already lived through that, right? We didn't die. America existed. It existed after the fact. After he was there for his term, and then he was voted out, and Biden won the next term, the next election, there was an America that was still existing for Biden to be the president of. It was not a smoking crater. I worry about two things specifically with Kamala. It's a concern of mine. The first thing that I'm concerned with is the economy. It's not going to get any better because she doesn't know how to change it. She don't know how to change it. She doesn't know what's a good idea versus a bad one. If her cabinet members or her economists or the people around her that help her with ideas, like any other presidents have cabinets and things of that nature. These are people who help them with different ideas. They give them that relevant information according to their expertise and things of that nature. This is why presidents pick their cabinet members, right? To help them in their administration, to help them in their presidency. People that they can delegate tasks to, right? And have some type of confidence that the tasks will be done and things of that nature, right? So I expect her to pick her cabinet and all of these different things. But how she gonna know what's the better idea versus what? Because women notoriously don't have that kind of foresight. Whether you're a good president or a bad president, you at minimum have to have some type of foresight past a year. Your foresight gotta be past your term. The level of foresight that you have, especially if you're going to be a good president, your foresight going to have to cover your term and go beyond it. What are the policies that I implement today? How is it going to affect Americans 10 years from now? The policies that I put in today, what is it going to do to the economy? What is it going to do to the environment? What is it going to do? They have to think that way. If they're going to be a good president, they have to think that way. You can't just think a little bit at a time. You have to think years ahead of time. And women notoriously don't have good foresight. Our foresight is typically very limited. We have insight. And our insight is only as good as our femininity and the value of our womanhood, but we're not going to talk about all that. The other thing that I worry over is the rest of the world leaders, because America's not in a vacuum. The rest of the world leaders, when she show up at that table as the POTUS, as what we have been calling the leader of the free world, we have dubbed the president of the United States the leader of the free world, the commander-in-chief. The commander-in-chief. When she shows up to these people and sit at the table with these people, with these men who don't have to lean into, you know what I'm saying, this egalitarian thought where the women are equal again. We're talking about a lot of times these men are highly patriarchal, highly so, and may just be just as misogynistic as you think that they are. They have very little respect for women in particular situations and in particular settings. And they may be looking at her across the room like, if I do what I want to do, what are you going to do about it? And am I really going to be scared of an American military under your direction or not? Trump said something funny, but it was real. They was asking him and her about the Russian war and the Ukraine and all that kind of stuff. And he said, these Putin and all of it, he was like this, they laughing. They see the incompetence. Says she been all over the world visiting, and no sooner than she left the meeting with Putin, Russia invaded Ukraine. 3 days later, they was in Ukraine. And he may have been a little bit, but it was kind of facts. It was kind of facts. Immediately, Russia invaded Ukraine. Right. Run, C-spot, run. Immediately, there was a war. And he said, I know Putin very well. She tried to put it where he was just admiring dictators and things of that nature. I don't think so. I don't think that Trump was going places to just ham it up with dictators because he thought that they were cool. What I think, and it's just my opinion, but what I think he was really doing was going to talk to them like people, man to man. Listen, come on. And kind of build a rapport with them. And I think that gets lost. Like, if they're not an American ally, you're not supposed to build rapport. But you are supposed to build some kind of rapport, because if nothing else, you're supposed to know your enemy. If nothing else. So he talked to him, and hey, whatever they say to each other, Putin do seem to respect him. He didn't invade Ukraine on Trump's watch. Whatever it was, he didn't do that. When was the last time before Trump that an American president stepped foot in North Korea? Whatever you think about North Korea, whatever you think about their dictatorship and how unfair their society is and things of that nature. To build some type of rapport with these people. If nothing else, what did we learn from Godfather? Keep your friends close and do what? Keep your enemies closer. Now, let me talk to you. We know what our allies is on. Let me talk to you, though. We've been at odds our country's been at odds for a long time. Come here, let me talk to you. Now, what's beef? What's the beef? Is it even something that we can clear? Or is it something that we always gotta have beef with? Is it beef forever or no? I just had my thoughts on the whole thing. I thought both of them could have done better. Trump got frustrated, and I can understand why he did, but he got frustrated with basically how they jumped him. The moderators jumped him too. It wasn't just her. Instead of focusing on the whole immigrant thing with the animal eating thing, if I was him, I would have focused on the Venezuelan thing, how they took over that apartment building in Colorado. That's where I would have went with that. I wouldn't even talked about Springfield, Ohio. I would have talked about Colorado. So we not gonna talk about the Venezuelan gangs taking over American citizens just living in their apartment complex. You know about that? We're not gonna talk about the dangers of that. We're not gonna talk about it. That earring was suspect, wasn't it? And yes, Melvin, that's what I'm thinking. And because they will not respect her, because they won't respect her, I think they'll try her. And in turn, trying America, they're gonna try it. We're gonna do stuff to go against whatever deal was made or this or that, whatever we put on paper or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm gonna push the envelope and see what you gonna do. Ms. Harris. We'll see about that. You got the guts? Come on then. See, when folks don't respect you, they try you. And that's the dangerous part. When folks don't respect you, they start trying you. They start pushing boundaries with you, pushing buttons, pushing the envelope, trying to see how far they can step on you before you do something. And she'll have to be heavy-handed. She'll have to be heavy-handed. And I just don't want us, as in the U.S., in an official other war. Like we've been at war for so long. Let it just come on. I don't want the United States officially in a war with somebody else. And them people, them citizens, them people that live in them apartment buildings, they not lying on them illegal immigrants. So why would them people lie about that? Don't you think it would behoove the Democrats to act like illegal aliens ain't doing nothing wrong and all of them are just model citizens? Now, all of them might not be criminals or whatever, but anytime you introduce millions of people into a society that they don't come from, Whatever they was doing in their homeland, they gonna do it over here, or they gonna try. So if they was hard workers in their land, they gonna come here and try to work hard. If they was family oriented in their own land, they gonna come here and try to be family oriented. If they was criminals and thugs in their own land, they gonna come here and try to do the same thing. Also, when did it become cool to get an endorsement from Dick Cheney? What reality is we in blood that is like Hitler for race relations? Because they don't like us. I mean, they don't like him. They don't like Dick Cheney. They ain't never liked Dick Cheney. The Democrats have not liked Dick Cheney. So they should have not. They touted that like that was a real big deal. Y'all should have almost kept that real quiet. Thank you, Jean said, what's your take on lies he's pushing? Haitian living, working in Ohio, stealing pets and eating them. Police talked to a man with a duck. He was African. Lady ate a cat, is Black American. Mental issues, weren't Haitian Americans or Haitian migrants. I don't know if they was Haitians or not. All I know is that before Trump said it, I was seeing video footage of people complaining about it. And they were saying that it was Haitians or whatever. And I don't know if they know that they were Haitians or not, or confused about what their cultural identity was or not. They were just complaining about it. Now, some people felt like especially the Black guy that's complaining about it, they felt like he was lying about it, or he was being too, like he was exaggerating what he was saying. But that's an interesting lie for somebody to get up and say. We don't just be telling lies like that on people. What would it help a Black American to get somewhere and just start lying about what any immigrant is doing? You know, sometimes it's hard to determine what's actually going to be true or not, because let's be clear that our media runs propaganda for either side when it's convenient. So we have to be aware of that. This is an election year. So you have to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, just a little bit more mindful about the stuff that come out, because things could be true or not. So you just have to think about what makes sense. I mean, I'm not willing to just say Haitians is eating animals, like eating cats. Like, I don't know that to be Haitian culture or not. I don't hang around Haitians, so I wouldn't know if that even made sense to say that. Hey, E305, been a member for 4 months at Real Talk Crimson. Salute to the chat. Thank you to Renzo. Said from a vet's perspective, they'll see Cam as a piece of meat across the table. Twin, the non-militarized side of society better study war strategies. Yesterday, today is too late. That's what I'm thinking. Thank you, Sam, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you, Bernard. Said Bio 1656. Women are inherently communist socialists, as they naturally believe all outcomes should be fair, whereas men understand life and its outcomes not always fair. Survivor Island show. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Bio1656. Said, what is his obsession with blacks and communism? Thank you, Mr. Missing. Said Willie Brown would like to object about Kamala's good positions, my good sister. Allegedly, not allegedly. So, RLI said Trump said last night she's Biden. She is. As far as her concept of how to run a country, she got that from Biden. She's been under him for 4 years. She's just going to do what he's been doing. Thank you once again. So Kamala has $500 million in donor support, the constituents whose agendas she will focus on. Baby deletions is healthcare for everyone except the baby. Fourth dimension said one day we got to cook Sister Candace running around here still thinking she make rules up in Mr. Cartwright's house eating Mr. Cartwright's food. Thank you. HVAC said debate was trash. Sorry I'm late to the party. Heard Shannon Sharp got busted on IG today. Man, he gonna have to talk about it on whenever his next show is. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Project 2025 is a scare tactic for low information voters. Edward Thorpe said they're still mad over the BJ interview, so the plan was to embarrass Trump. Thank you, Kelly said Kamala just put up policies on her page. Oh, she just did now, did she? Done with the begging buttons. Thank you, Chris said, but she's an AKA, the sisterhood. Thank you, African Diastoic. Yes, she does. It's called Project High Tech Lynching 2025. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you once again. Said they already trying it. Stuck one big toe in with Putin's endorsement statement. And thank you, Fear to None, for your super sticker as well. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all for hanging in with me, even though I was late. But yeah, I'm actually probably gonna rewatch that debate at some point, maybe. And I wasn't enthused by either of them, honestly. Neither of them, if I was a voting person that was undecided, they both was just nuts up there. Just two nuts, just running into each other. Just two peanuts just running into each other, y'all. It didn't give me necessarily a vote for confidence. I don't think that it changed any voters' minds. I think the people that was going to vote for Trump are still going to vote for him. And the people who are going to vote for Kamala are still going to vote for her. That's just what I think. I don't think that they swayed anybody one way or the other. I think if you were already going to vote for one of the candidates, I don't think that anything happened in that debate that would necessarily change what your vote was going to be, no matter who you were going to vote for. Thank you, Bernard. Again, says sad that a majority of Black voters are directly voting for the extinction of their own communities in the name of spite, symbolism, and group thinking. Yeah, I don't think that the needle really moved for anybody. If you were pro Kamala, then you were like, yeah, Kamala ate them up. And if you were pro Trump, you was like, yeah, Trump took on 3 people, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna get on up out of here. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, it's the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Whoa, whoa. Hey, y'all know what it is. You make me happy. this you can bet. You stood right beside me, yeah, and I won't forget. And I really love you. You should know. I want to make sure I'm right, girl, before I let go. Now we've had a good time. That's what they say. You know. We're hurting each other, yeah. And girl, it's a shame. But I won't be foolish, no. I want to know. I want to make sure I'm right, girl, before I let go, yeah. You know, I think the sunrise sets and shine on you. And you know there's nothing I would not do. Oh, no, before I let you go. I would never let you go before I know.